Today saw the confirmation hearing for President-elect Trump's pick for Defense Secretary. Combat veteran and former Fox News host Pete Hegseth was grilled by the Senate Armed Services Committee. His opening remarks interrupted 3 times by pro-Palestinian protesters. He followed his prepared statement almost exactly as written, emphasizing Trump's America First agenda and his commitment to support, quote, the warfighter.
As I've said to many of you in private meetings, when President Trump chose me for this position, the primary charge he gave me was to bring the warrior culture back to the Department of Defense. He, like me, wants a Pentagon laser-focused on lethality, meritocracy, warfighting, accountability, and readiness.
Joining us live now to discuss is retired 4-star Army General Barry McCaffrey, also a King 5 military analyst. So, General, how do you think Pete Hegseth did today as he was grilled by senators?
Well, it was a 4-hour, very bitter, partisan, divisive hearing. I think everything you need to know about what troubled many senators, both Republican and Democrat, were laid out by Senator Jack Reed, Democrat of Rhode Island, who in a very objective, soft-spoken way outlined concerns about his lack of experience, his past comments about women in combat. More than 1,000 women have been killed or wounded fighting in the war on terror. They're 15% of the force. Concerns about allegations of chronic alcohol abuse, concerns about support for war criminal allegations, and then finally, to some extent, a sense of incompetence on his part, a provocative kind of character. Now, look, I think the guy did brilliantly. He's a Princeton grad. He's a decorated combat veteran. He's articulate. He's smart. He didn't lose his cool. And I think, that committee hearing, if one Republican, Senator Joni Ernst, votes against him, he doesn't come out of committee and there's a great sigh of relief in the Senate. I think he's now going to get confirmed. So there's that. And the other thing we got to take into account, the problem is the president-elect of the United States is the one saying things like, let's use military power to seize Denmark's Greenland possession. Let's invade Panama and seize the canal back. Let's use military force against drug cartels inside Mexico. Let's coerce Canada into being the 51st state. Some of this is almost comical. So in that sense, his provocative nominee, there's no question.
As a former military person yourself, Hegseth said in his statements that he wanted to bring pride back to the military, clean up the mess at the Pentagon. We know about his public statements that he's made about women in the military not being in combat. As a whole, what do you see, if anything, that's problematic about that, and what does it mean for the military and for morale?
Well, I think that this is just, look, the American people just reelected Donald Trump, to my utter astonishment. He is going to be the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief. This is his nominee. I think the attack on the lack of a warrior culture, look, the U.S. Armed Forces, 2.1 million men, women, active guard reserve, took 60,000 killed and wounded defending the American people. So I'd hardly say that they lack a warrior culture. But I think there is an argument that that there'll be some change at the Pentagon. The DEI programs, to some extent, push the cultural envelope too far. They do need to get better control over an audit to be able to account for their money, although Congress, by the way, routinely doesn't pass a budget to run the armed forces until 3 months to 9 months into the fiscal year. So I'm sure if they surround Hegseth with competent managers, acquisition authority experts, he's probably capable of doing the job. But the president is Donald Trump. That's the commander-in-chief.
I have time for one more question, briefly, if you can. Several senators introduced letters of support from people in the military and others. Is there anything about his resume, in your mind, that makes him a good choice to be Secretary of Defense?
Oh, no question. He's a combat veteran. He's a decorated Special Forces officer. He passed the Q course. I think that, that gives him a credibility. He's wearing a combat entry badge. There's a little bit of allure to his Princeton education. He's extremely articulate. That's his business, is talking on Fox TV in the weekend. So, if they put together a team around him, he'll be capable of doing the job. The question is, the President of the United States has bizarre comments, attacking our allies, NATO, Japan, South Korea, praising Putin. That's the challenge to the United States. And Hegseth is his pick to be the SecDef.
And he would be in charge of I think, 3 million people with very limited leadership experience. So it just remains to be seen. We'll keep watching to see if he makes it through committee and whether, in fact, he will be in the cabinet as Defense Secretary. General McCaffrey, always so grateful for your insight and analysis. Thanks so much.
Good to be with you.